everyone. We'll get started here in a second. We have a really special guest. Should be a fantastic episode if I had to guess. Nick, am I sounding a little harsher than normal today?
Sounds like you're getting over COVID like I just did.
It very well might be possible. Yeah, I shudder to think, but it's entirely possible. I'm in my Barry Manilow era right now. So
I just got over it. Well, I had it last week. Just got over it over this past weekend. So
all right, let's see how we're looking this morning. And of course, I'm gonna draw. Oh wow! And I nailed it too. And look, hold on. Can I do this?
He started off the layout right this time.
Nice. The layout. So, Rick, the funny thing is, we constantly have problems with the layout. Normally, like there's some like thing on the screen that I can't figure out how to finagle with. But now we just nailed it. And you're in the middle too. Bro, he's muted.
Oh, check your microphone settings, Rick.
Oh boy. No, it's okay. If this were without any kind of technical issues, it would not be the show. But that being said, welcome everyone. Thank you for joining us. Another episode of Friday Coffee here, coming at you live on LinkedIn exclusively. We have a special guest for you. I've been stalling a little bit to see if Rick could know. I'm going to help him out. At the middle of the stage in the bottom, next to the microphone, there's a little drop-down arrow. And if you click that, it'll allow you to specify the device that you'd like to use. And this is completely our fault, too, because normally we have a little bit of prep time in advance. So my apologies there. But maybe one thing we'll cover while Rick gets that ironed out is I'm going to turn this music off, too.
And Rick, sometimes as well, up at the top left in your browser, you have to give it permission for your microphone. Don't forget to do that too. Sometimes
that might be it. Yeah.
Over. Yeah.
Top right will say camera and microphone allowed.
Yeah, it's next to the URL up there at the top.
The other reason why this episode is special is this is, I think, Nick's last episode with us.
It will be. Yeah. Yep. It's been fun. I'm officially retiring after today, though. So
right, he doesn't want to be a co-host anymore on LinkedIn Live.
Nope, just schedules are getting harder than always, and I don't want to set you back, Brian. And I think it has real potential, and I definitely would like to be a guest one of these days. And maybe that's one of the main reasons I'm doing it is because I'd like to sit in the guest seat here in 2026. So I can't do that. I can't have it both ways.
That's funny. Yeah, of course. No, Rick's still having issues with it. Maybe it's in the system settings. I'm not sure.
Yeah. You could always, if you have an alternative microphone too, Rick, maybe try to select it. I know one time if you have like a boom mic, mine had a physical.
Oh, so right now, actually, this is interesting. Restream allows me to see. So it says that your mic is set to chat mic TC Helicon Go XLR. So if I had to guess, you have your microphone muted in your system settings. So if you're on Windows, just search for your sound settings and then see if it's muted, because sometimes that happens to me too.
Yep. And there's a physical mute button on the mic has gotten me before.
Right. Oh,
I heard a pop. That's good.
How about now?
Oh, there we go. Was it the physical mute button?
No, I just dumped out of that and went with. So now the audio quality is not as silky smooth, but at least you can hear me at all. So.
Yeah. It sounds fine.
It's just on the cam mic, but we're good.
It sounds fine.
It's an improvement at a significant percentage basis. So welcome, Rick.
Significantly better than zero.
So to cap off on the other previous conversation, Nick is leaving us.
Oh no, was it me? Something I said or couldn't say?
I mean, it's. I figured since it's going to peak it with you being the surprise guest for today, I might as well go ahead and just go ahead and step down after this one.
No pressure.
Nope.
He I don't know. I mean, that's for him to internalize. But regardless, I'm grateful for the amount of time that we've gotten to spend with each other over the last 8 months. And that being said, I am considering bringing in another co-host.
As you should.
Maybe or maybe not. We'll see.
Yep.
If I do get another co-host, I want it to be like a big name. Like who's like a big name in like the tech scene that's like sitting on the sidelines right now waiting
for the listeners. If you're interested, here's your opportunity. Send Brian your resume. Brian, post your
send me your resume.
Resume, demo tape.
Yep.
Without much further ado, and thank you all for your patience today, I'd like to introduce our guest, a guy by the name of Rick Heaton here. Hi, Rick. How are you?
Other than audio issues, I'm doing pretty well, thanks. It's Friday. I noticed as I was sitting on the wait screen, I'm wearing the same shirt I am in the promo image. So
nice. Is there graphics on it, or is it just a plain?
No, it's just a little pocket tee. So
yeah,
it's Friday. It's early.
Yep.
Sorry, I was a little worried, but I see you guys are also in your
it's fine.
Friday casuals. So
we're cash, and wow, we're joined by 5 people right now, which is actually a pretty decent number of live guests. I would like to remind everyone that we are taking your questions and comments live here on the audience. So if you have any questions for Rick as we go along, please feel free to drop it in. We like to keep this nice and interactive. Rick, would you explain a little bit of your background for our audience?
Wow. Diverse is a great word, I think. So in terms of most recent work I've done, most relevant, I think, I have been a community manager for Warner Brothers games on the Lord of the Rings Online. I have taken that to the nonprofit sector for a while, and I was the first community manager at Extra Life from Children's Miracle Network Hospital, and I did that for a while. I've worked for Able Gamers. I've worked for a French startup company, which was a lot of fun. So most of my experience recently has been community management, social media management, influencer management and marketing, and anything that was needed within those realms. So kind of a jack of all trades.
So you are you get the people together.
I'm all about communications. I'm all about my last title was officially Director of Influencer and Community Activations. So it was if something was going on with a client, I was working for an agency. I was probably the guy in the middle digging through everything to make sure it ran well.
Normally, Nick has a bunch of questions, but I have a question about what you just said. Like, what is an influencer exactly? Like,
so. I have a hard time with that term, mostly because some people consider it derogatory. Not usually influencers themselves; they think it's good, but they use it as a belittling term. So I generally prefer the word creator, but there's a disconnect there in that I don't know if you guys remember the high definition TV transition, when everyone was trying to figure out what's high def, what's digital, what's analog. They couldn't figure it out. I kind of look at it as all influencers are creators, but not all creators are influencers. Some people just like to create stuff, which is totally cool, and they're not trying to monetize it. Some people are really good at monetizing what they create and working with brands to put a message out and to create the feeling of their community for the brand, and kind of translate that whole, hey, we want to do cool things, and Bob says this is the cool thing, let's go do it, right? So it's kind of a literal term. They influence their communities into brands. If you think of like a celebrity endorsement, it's similar to that. Hey, I want to do what Tom Brady's doing. That's cool. That'll give me that sense of connection to Tom Brady because I wear the same shoes, or I do this, or he does that and I do this. Let's do it together. Let me buy his book. So that's kind of the really rough outline of what an influencer does. They do a heck of a lot more. Most of them are one-man shops or one-woman shops. So they're doing all the production, all the creation, all the script writing, and then the actual content production and publishing. And there's a lot more to it, I think, than people give them credit for.
You said something interesting. You said that it was a bit of a derogatory term, which I thought it stuck out to me. But then the other thing that kind of occurred to me is like, we used to look at celebrity or influence as like something that always happened on a massive scale.
Right.
Too, right.
Exactly.
Like, I think now what's really interesting about this point in time is like, and I don't say this in like a detractory way or anything like that, but you almost have like micro influencers.
You do.
It's every
category.
Every category that exists.
Yeah. So there's even nano influencers, which are even smaller. But it's all about, so derogatory, and I don't mean to make it sound like, you know, we're not talking about any real insults, but some people try to make it an insult. You'll see it referenced as influencer, right? Almost suggesting that it's only slightly better than if you were at McDonald's or what. It's people that don't understand it, right? It's that you're nobody. Why do I care what you think? Well,
that's what I was kind of thinking that you meant. Right? It's like when it's like, how dare you think that you're someone that should be influencing others? You're just like one of us. Like, get back to your place.
Exactly. It's very much in a derogatory insult term that way. Exactly. These people, you know, think they're better than it's a projection of their own kind of sense of who they are when they say it, because it's, you know, why do you think you're better than me? What makes you special, right? And in reality is, well, your 9 followers on Instagram are cool and all, and I'm sure they like their content, but his 50,000 do what he says. There's the difference, right? So, and then
to some extent, you know, it is tied to the number.
It is to some extent, but it's more about what is your actual, for lack of a better term, influence, right, over your community. What can you engage your community in such a way that they will engage with whatever brand has hired you to speak for them?
Interesting.
Is really the question.
So,
you know, and it's not all tied to pure numbers, because not everybody says, oh, Bob says go buy something, run out to Amazon and go buy it, or follow the link or whatever. A lot of it is, I see this ad now and I remember this guy that I trust talking about it, or they see this makeup ad and they go, oh, hey, I was watching that influencer and she said this was good quality product. Let me go check it out again and buy it. So you're buying mind share, right? To a certain extent, you're buying engagement, you're buying mind share, you're buying I guess, for lack of a better term, you're buying the trust that community has in the influencer you're hiring, and hoping it translates to you.
So this is like, this conversation is far outside of the realm of what we ordinarily talk about.
That's great.
which is fine for me. Like, I don't mind that one bit.
There's Nick, a lot of direct relevance there. Really. Yeah,
for sure. Nick, you ordinarily you might find him outside your house, like digging through your trash, like trying to find some interesting.
There was a junk truck pulled up out back earlier this morning.
Yeah, right. But he actually flies, so he just flies over your house.
It's easy. Yeah.
Was that a PA-28?
Yeah, the bottom one is. Yep. That's what I got my instrument rating in.
See, this is the thing that I love about this, is it provides an opportunity to connect, because I know, like, I look at that plane that Nick has and I'm just like, that's a tiny plane with a propeller on it.
Yep. Yeah.
Well, at least you know it's not a jet. That's better than some.
Yeah. Yep. The top one's a 172. So basically, Rick, every rating I get one of those nice little cool wireframe hang on the wall things. So the top one, it's a 172. That's where I got my private end.
The landing gear, the top one. So I wasn't sure.
Yep. You can barely see the high wing there. Yep. And then the bottom one is Piper actually started making a PA-28 variant called the Piper Pilot, and they did it specifically for instrument training, this particular one. So, yeah.
My first 5 hours were in a 28. So.
Nice. Very nice. Yep. Did you
did not finish.
Continue that? No. Stopped at 5?
It actually, I think I've got 13, but it just got to the point where AvGas went up, instructor time went up. I moved, which put me in very complex airspace. So
Yeah.
you know, I'm outside of Boston. I'm
I
not
don't
flying
like
in
flying
this
into
mess.
Bravo.
I'm lost here. Does everyone except for me fly planes? I don't understand.
Apparently
like
so.
our last guest, like
Yeah, her grandma was.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I'm getting the
Yep,
hint. What's happening is Nick is leaving me. He's gonna like go start a LinkedIn Live that just specializes in
just
flying.
Yep, pilots only.
just for aviators.
Yep. So Rick, you were in radio for a while, and then you transitioned into IT support in the 90s, which, you know, when Windows really started getting popular, you're part of the OG Windows support community.
Yeah, Windows. So my very first IT role was Windows NT.
Mm-hmm.
So anyone with tech knowledge that goes that deep and that far just shuddered slightly. Windows NT, then Windows 2000.
Yep.
A lot of it was really kind of network architecture and server architecture. I would build out an entire network for a company. Then I'd build out their servers, usually on 2000. And it would be, you know, if you needed an in-house mail server, web server at the time. Anybody remember Netscape 0.9?
Yep.
When it was still beta? Yeah. They actually had a web server that ran on NT in 2000 that was not great, but it was better than what Microsoft was offering at the time. So a lot of people went that route.
They were using Novell.
Yeah.
Yep.
Novell. You know, the big deal was to have Cisco everything. Of course, that also meant that your CEO had better been driving a pair of Bentleys or he couldn't afford it.
Yep. Not too different from today.
Yeah. So,
now our audience knows what we're talking about again.
Yeah.
It's funny because people ask me, it's like, well, how did you get from radio to that? Because I was on air. I was a DJ.
You read my mind.
What kind of music did you spin?
Yes. The only place I've never worked is a country music station.
Really?
Which is funny because every time I've left a station, they eventually become country music.
What does that mean? Like it's so bad?
I don't know. I don't know if I'm cursing people or I'm blocking what they really want. When I leave, they add it. I don't know. Yeah, I was that kid that would sit on his bed and do his homework and listen to the radio ridiculously loud. Always wanted to hear my favorite DJs, and I really wanted to be one of them. So I went to school for mass communications. I threw some broadcasting in there. I worked in Miami for many years on the radio, overnights, weekends. Then I moved to Tallahassee and got really, really good time slots there, and also fill-ins for evening, which is what I really wanted to do, and had a lot of fun, a lot of blast. And it got to the point in radio where you're seeing TV and now you're seeing movie studios do it. There was so much consolidation where 2 or 3 players owned everything. And for a long time, at the end of the 80s, early 90s, there was this, you're selling radio stations like a stock, right? It's like, okay, I'm going to buy this and I'm going to come and change the format and we're going to do it this way. And then I'm going to sell this because now it's worth more money. And it was a cycle of not doing anything wrong, but getting fired because they kept selling stations.
Yeah.
It was a really weird period in the very early 90s where I worked in one building, in one office for 4 companies in about a year.
Wow.
And I was like, you know, this
really
is
like stock.
this is loony. I can't do this anymore. I mean, it's nice to the final company that I worked for there, bought the station, made it a Colombian station. A Colombian investor bought into it. This is in the late 80s. Make your own assumptions. And I literally got rehired after they fired everyone and realized they needed someone in the building with an actual FCC license while they broadcast. So they hired me, and I would sit in the boardroom and read the paper. That was my gig, but they had a licensed person.
That's amazing.
Paid well, but it wasn't very interesting.
Framed on the entryway of the building. Like,
yeah, right.
Yeah.
Can we get a copy of that? And we're gonna stick it up on the wall for us.
They needed a licensed engineer and they needed a licensed broadcaster. So they rehired myself and the old assistant engineer, and our jobs were just to kind of sit there.
So what did you do on the radio, Rick? You were like doing lead-ins for like
yeah,
power hours?
I was your typical DJ. So
What does that sound like?
Oh God,
I was going to say, do you have any audio?
Please,
are there any
just
archives of this?
There are. They're packed away safely where hopefully no one ever hears them.
Come on,
again.
give us a little bit of it, because I just joke around. I'm like, thank you for joining us here in downtown Boston. You know.
No, it's easier for me to do over music, but here we go. Let's embarrass myself here.
Yeah.
It's let's see.
I think a very small audience will be okay.
Great. Yeah, hire me if you like this. I'll be your personal DJ. So it's 9:21 a.m. on finally a Friday. It's 56 degrees in Boston, and we have Steely Dan.
Yes, Steely Dan coming in. Stevie Nicks coming at you live at a very rainy day here in downtown Boston.
There you go.
That's awesome, Rick.
So yeah, I decided I didn't like being, a little piece on a board just being punched around to wherever the whims of the, I don't know, whimsical pushed me. So
why IT specifically? Just, I mean, it was obviously
I just had a basic
coming
desktop background. So when I was younger and when I was in school, I was the guy. You know that guy the family always calls?
Yeah, that's usually every guest on this show is typically that person. I mean, including Brian
honestly,
and myself. So
that should be the entryway into IT for anyone. Like as soon as you like apply to a college or go. So just tell us real quick: does your family, all of your family, reach out to you whenever anything?
They still do.
Oh yeah, family, friends. Yep.
And I haven't been in the IT game for a very long time, but it was one of those things where, it was easy for me to pick up. I went right into desktop support first because I was kind of doing it for free for 20 people anyway. Went into desktop support, got into networking, got a couple of, I was shocked to see certificates that still exist. Then I kind of got bored with it. I think, it's like I did all of this stuff and I got everything to a point where a lot of it was automated, and I basically sat in a freezing cold server room for 8 hours a day, and no one talked to me. Whereas I had come from radio, where I talk to everybody, and I'm very much a communications kind of guy, and it drove me a little insane. Yep. So I was like, I got to find somewhere, and the WB Games gig fell in my lap. I was actually playing the game.
Oh, nice.
That I got hired to work on. I just happened to be in a developer chat, and they mentioned that one of their community managers was leaving. So I sent a note and said, "Hey, out of curiosity, what does this pay?" Right? Because I was playing it. I was already interacting with their community, and they were like, "Oh, we know you. Come in for an interview." And they flew me up to Boston. I was living in Pennsylvania at the time. They flew me up to Boston.
That has to be surreal.
It is, as the kid that had the first Atari on the block. This was like the back of my mind. It's like, hey, Mom, yeah. It's not a real job, is what I always heard. I'm like, well, apparently it is, because it's paying better than what I'm making now. So yes, we'll take this job. Yeah, and that's kind of how I got here.
Now, I'm sure Nick has more questions, but I just want to know, like, how big did the community end up being?
Trying to think. I know at one point when we were changing over forum software, there were just over 1 million registered accounts that were unbanned. So not all of them were online all the time or playing all the time. If you look at us compared to WoW, we were tiny. They had 20 million people.
Yeah, jeez, that's crazy.
20 million people.
But it was great, and all of my experiences really helped, because talking to people, writing copy, and doing all the things I did in radio, combined with my IT background, made it really easy for me to move back and forth between developers and just let them talk how developers talk, and community, because I was in the community, so they could talk how they talk. And I was really, really good at translating so that they weren't talking past each other. When the developer told me something, I could put it in terms of community understood. Because they're not going to understand server loads and balancing and all of the other things. Their game's broke. Why?
Yep. So, Rick, that kind of a little bit of a segue into my next question. I think you're looking for your next role right now.
I am.
And
I am actually.
are you wanting to continue kind of in that realm with community management specifically, or what would your ideal next position be?
Community and or influencer marketing, I think, are good. I think they're related in a lot of ways. Obviously, the game industry understands these things really, really, really well because they sort of originated community back in the 90s as a alternative form of customer support. They've grown it. They adapted to social. They've adapted to YouTube and all of these other things and creators, and you now have creators who are in your community. So I really like the idea that other verticals are starting to see the value in this. I've worked with Jack in the Box. I've worked with Panda Express. I've worked with Google on projects, and they're starting to realize that influencers and community, while kind of unique in the same way that PR is unique in what it actually does and where it branches, they overlap a lot. And they're starting to see value in, hey, we have a fan base. What I would call a community, they have a fan base. What if we take people from our fan base and use them to say, hey, I'm a real fan, because now you have authenticity, right? And start using them as influencer creators, whatever, and either paying them or providing them with food. If you're a QSR, you give them food. If you're a tech company, hey, we've got we can pull in gamers for tech companies, right? Because everybody needs more space in their PS5 or in their Xbox, and Western Digital makes it. So send them a drive and say, hey, check this out. Make a video explaining what it did and how you liked it. And so
but you made a good point there. You made a good point, which was that there has to be like a natural alignment.
There does,
though, right? Like,
and to the naysayers, that's the point, right? And I mentioned nano influencers. Some nano influencers can be very well paid because they're so specific in what it is they talk about.
Yes,
and that niche isn't really talked about online, right? It may be so niche that you're the person talking about it, so you're trusted by however many people you have. It may not be a huge number, but you're the only one. So bringing a company in to say, hey, we want to support you in this, talk about our products, show off our products. You've got a small number of people with high impact. So
Rick, I know
go ahead, Nick, please.
I just wanted to do a quick time check, Brian, because we are 30 minutes has flown by like it usually does.
Really
so, Rick, before we wrap up here, we usually ask each guest one of our flagship questions that I think we hit you with a little bit of a preview with. If you had to choose somebody to be on the show for Brian next year here in 2026, who would it be?
Wow. I was thinking about this last night, and a lot of my group is in gaming, but there's someone I think would be really interesting, mostly because he's been kind of everything. He's been at an agency. He's formed his own agency. I used to work for him. His name's Keith Pape. He's really well known in a lot of sectors. He's an amazing storyteller, brand guy. I think he has great value in any industry simply because he used to be IT. He's a former Iraq vet. His wife is former Navy, and she was IT in the Navy. So I think, again, this is another person who has a lot of overlap with that IT background, and parlayed that into other things. And really, I mean, it's funny, I mentioned Western Digital before. One of the projects we were trying to work on just before I left was Western Digital. So it's not only gaming that he can talk to in terms of telling good brand stories and PR and marketing in that sense, but pretty much anything.
Yeah. Very nice.
Well,
yep.
Keith,
Brian,
we're coming for you.
Yep, here we come. Yep, I do have to jump, gentlemen. I have a 9:30 Eastern I have to go to. So, Rick, it was great having you, and
It was great being
talk.
here.
Yeah, we'll talk soon.
Yeah, Rick, thank you so much. Thank you for everyone that's joined us live. Really appreciate it. We'll follow up with Keith afterwards, and thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Friday, everyone.
Yeah,
All
thanks
right.
everybody.
Happy
Happy
Friday.
Friday.
Bye bye.